We begin the readout tonight with a very basic question. And a serious question. What does today's Republican Party actually stands for? Besides voter suppression, the big lie, and taking the knee to the orange guy in the diaper, probably. Naturally, if you're a sentient being, you'd look back at the past 5 months and try to take stock of what Republicans have brought to the table. A quick scan shows you that they're not down for much. They don't support investigating the January 6th insurrection. They don't believe in making voting easier. They don't believe in making mass shootings harder to pull off. They don't believe women should get the same pay as men. They don't even believe that poor people, and apparently minorities, deserve decent wages. Here's what Art Laffer, a Trump-appointed economist, told Fox News.
For those people, Sandra, who are coming into the labor force brand fresh, not old timers who've been around for a while, the poor, the minorities, the disenfranchised, those with less education, young people who haven't had the job experience, these people aren't worth $15 an hour in most cases.
Even on infrastructure, Republicans have made it clear that the only way that would happen is if they can make you, the taxpayer, cough up the dough, not wealthy corporations. Do you detect the pattern yet? Earlier today, Senator John Thune, McConnell's top deputy, told reporters there is no scenario where even 10 Republicans would come together to make infrastructure happen. Here's the reality. Republicans aren't serious about working with President Biden on anything. They don't want to give him the 10 votes and a win that Democrats could take into the next election. McConnell broadcast that last month when he told reporters that his caucus, from Collins to Cruz, is 100% focused on blocking the Biden administration. And yet, with only one party that's serious about democracy or governing or anything, why do Democrats keep bellying up to the table in good faith, proposing ideas on how to improve health care and infrastructure, equality, and access to voting? At a certain point, shouldn't it become clear that Republicans love to tease Democrats and the public with the hint of compromise, only to yank it away like Lucy and the football from Charlie Brown? Meanwhile, they just run out the clock. How much longer are Democrats going to keep playing along? Joining me now is Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren. And Senator Warren, I am so glad that you are available to be on with us tonight because I have been dying to talk to you because you don't seem like the type of Democrat who's willing to sit around and chit-chat with the John Thunes and the Shelley Moore Capitos for like 8 months and try to get bipartisanship. You want to get things done. You're the lady with the plan. Why are Democrats still playing along with this game?
So, I see it this way. I think that the president did the right thing. He said, I'm willing to be bipartisan, come in, let's talk, but not to hold things up. What we're doing right now as Democrats is we're negotiating out an infrastructure package, and we need to make sure that we're going full speed ahead. Republicans want to join us? Fine. But if they don't, we don't slow down for them. We need to move forward. We need to deliver on our promises, and that means now.
Well, yes, because also the 2022 elections, we can't lose sight of that. Democrats ran on some stuff, and people are expecting it to get done.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, then they're like, why do I keep voting for Democrats if they don't do anything? I do have a challenge, because I'm hearing that. I have to tell you, young folks around me, people that I'm talking to, are saying, I'm sick of being told I have to vote. And then when Democrats get in, they say, I can't do anything because Mitch won't let me. Do you
That's
see
right.
that, sense that
hard.
perception? Yeah.
We can't stand here and say this is too hard. No, we have a majority. I know it's a little tiny, skinny majority, but it is a majority. And that means we need to deliver. We need to deliver on infrastructure, and that means, sure, roads and bridges. It also means mass transit. It also means communications. It also means child care. It means helping women get back into the workforce, and it means making those jobs that are principally held by women of color, making those caregiving jobs good, decent, dependable, well-paying jobs. We need to do that as part of our infrastructure bill. We need to be making the investment in green as part of our infrastructure bill, building a 21st century infrastructure. And remember, Joy, it's not just infrastructure. Right now, President Biden, this evening, could sign a piece of paper and cancel student loan debt for $50,000. He could wipe out all student loan debt for 38 million Americans and substantially cut it for another 5 million Americans. Think what that would mean for people across this country. It's an economic justice issue, and it's a racial justice issue. We're Democrats. We ran on getting stuff done. We need to get it done.
And that's the kind of stuff that I think, for especially a lot of young people, that's what they voted for, and they're waiting for that stuff to happen.
Yep.
But inside of your own caucus, you do have some members who I would characterize as Chamber of Commerce Democrats, right? The Chamber of Commerce likes them, gives them support. And you've got some Koch brothers Democrats. Let's just keep it real. Joe Manchin is getting a lot of pressure from the Koch organization. They are, in league with him in some way. I'm not saying how, but obviously he's got connections to them. Is part of the problem here that they're the same kind of dark money that S1 wants to eliminate is also playing a part in some of these Democrats saying, we're not getting rid of the filibuster, we're not touching it, we're not doing voting rights, we're not doing anything that the Kochs don't want?
Look, dark money has been washing through Washington for decades now, and it's just gotten worse. And one of the things we've got to do with S1, and I'm so glad you raised this, is we have to protect the vote. That's a key part of S1. But the second part is we have to be willing to stand up and drive back the corruption. So right now, that's a big conversation within our caucus. We're having a lot of talk back and forth, but both pieces need to be strong, and we need to go forward on them. I'm hopeful, but I'm worried, and more than anything else, I am in this fight. I know it's been a bad week on this, but when it's a bad week, that means it's time to double down and get tougher in this fight. We must deliver as Democrats.
Well, how do you do that? Because the Kochs have made it clear. There was that audio that was released in January that the New Yorker came out with where they said, look, the idea of getting rid of dark money is popular with Republicans. Well, we can't argue against this on the merits. We need to kill it. And now you see not just Republicans looking to kill it. You see people like Manchin, who was a co-sponsor of S1. People don't realize he was a co-sponsor of this bill. Now suddenly he's on record against it. It makes people wonder whether money is starting to play a part. And by the way, one last thing I'll throw in, these are rich folks who don't pay taxes, and they don't want to ever pay taxes. We just had that big report come out that they pay zero, and they want to keep paying zero. Mm-hmm. And I worry that people like Manchin and Sinema are helping them.
Look, we are not through yet. We're still in the middle of the negotiations around this, and I'm in the fight, and there are a lot of Democrats who are in this fight, and we are determined. We're going to protect the vote, and we're going to roll back the corruption. Those are both key. But, Joy, look, it would be foolish to deny that there are buckets of rich people out there, CEOs who say, you know what, I like the system just like it is, and they want the system to stay the way it is. So sure, there's a lot of pressure back. There's pressure because the Republicans are in lockstep with Mitch McConnell, but there's also pressure from a lot of rich folks, a lot of corporate folks who don't want to see us make any change. But that doesn't matter. We ran on making change. We made promises to people, and it is our obligation to get out there and fulfill those promises. And if we have to go behind closed doors and talk about how to make that happen, then that's what we'll do. But we need to come out with an answer as Democrats. That's who we are.
Yeah, and what's the counter leverage then? In theory, let's just sort of play it out. I mean, as you said, you've got, that ProPublica report is damning. You've got people who are quite legally, they're not breaking the law. They just actually pay zero in taxes. Everybody out there that's getting taxes taken out of your check, you pay more than Jeff Bezos and all of these people. So the incentives are so strong. What can you offer back to Democrats who say they're for voting rights, they say they're for reform? What's the counter leverage on people like them?
Democracy. If we deliver, then people will show up. If we follow through on our promises, then people will come. Remember, we got Georgia when nobody thought we were going to get Georgia, and we got both senators in Georgia. And how did we do that? We did it by saying very clearly, here are our promises and delivering on those promises. We want to win Georgia again. We want to win any of these states again. Then the answer is deliver on the promises that we have made. And we have got to get out and do that. To me, that's what this is all about.